All right, everybody. So today we are going to be making a Pina Colada inspired mead. Now, what do I mean by Pina Colada? Pineapple and coconut, anyone? I will not be adding any rum. This is not going to be a fortified mead. It is just going to be a pineapple coconut, giving that Pina Colada vibe. I'm imagining that this particular mead will be able to be enjoyed on a hot summer day and just enjoyed. Nothing too crazy, but you know, end of day, yeah, this is my glass of mead sort of thing. So I'm very excited to be making that today. Excuse me. Forgot to clean that out. Sorry, I've been doing so many things this morning and I've had a cold this past week, so my mind is just cuckoo. Alrighty, so it's a mead. What do we need first? We need honey. So for this particular mead, I will be doing 2 pounds of honey. Tear that. And as with most of my flavored meads, if not all at this point, we will be using Kirkland wildflower honey. So 2 pounds of this. You know, 1.98 is close enough. And I hope it goes without saying that everything that I am using today, including my hands, has been sanitized in the lovely black bucket. And just to make sure, and since I got a little sticky, we're gonna wash my hands again. And a couple of extra tools. So there is that. That is done. Turn off. There we go. So 2 pounds of honey. And one of the liquids I will be using besides water is going to be coconut water. So that is one source of coconut. There will be more sources of coconut. Why do I not want to use pineapple juice? Well, that's expensive stuff. So it just adds up really fast. And I don't want fermented coconut. I want the fresh coconut kind of taste. But a little bit of the fermented, did I say coconut before? I meant pineapple. I want fresh pineapple, but I can do a little bit of fermented coconut. This will add a little bit of depth of flavor. So we'll go ahead and put 1 liter of coconut milk in here. Coconut water. Again, I had a cold this week, so I'm just like, woo! And which coconut water am I using? Whatever I felt like getting at the store. This particular one is organic. And I just realized I forgot to turn on the light. One moment. All right, now that you guys can actually see me, we've got 1 liter of coconut water that is organic, and looking at the ingredients on the carton, it literally says organic coconut water. So no extra ites or anything like that. It is just coconut water. So exciting. So now we've got the coconut water and some honey. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a bit of a stir with the spattle. It's a spoon, it's a paddle, it's a spattle. So get that started. It'll take a little bit of time to get the honey incorporated, and I might have to add some extra water to it as well. Now, I'm not going to be gentle with this stirring because we need oxygen in the beginning of fermentation. Why, Rachel? Well, yeast, being the living beings that they are, living fungi, they need oxygen in order to replicate or reproduce. It is part of the budding phase or lag phase, and then the budding phase. So they need the oxygen in order to create, new yeast. They start creating alcohol later when they are fully grown. So, there we go. Oh, this is much easier than I thought it would be. Nice. But you see how much honey I still have on the spattle? Okay. I'd say that's pretty free of honey. Now let's get it into our fermenter. My 1.5 gallon fermenter. right, how much? We've got a little bit of honey left in the pitcher, so I will be adding some water to get that out. Let's get here. Oh, how are y'all doing today? It's been a crazy summer. Everybody's either, chilling or graduating. I know that up here in Canada, some of the schools have just done their graduations. Other people are just so stressed. If you are stressed, try and take 5 minutes and just breathe. Don't forget to breathe, y'all. It's very important. Here we go. One thing about this cold that I had is that it literally required me to stop and just have a cold, take a day to sleep and quote unquote relax as much as one can when you're sick. There we go. Do we see any more honey? Nope, that is all the honey. So that's the spattle. We are done with that. And now we fill up to the 1 gallon mark, which is right here. I know you guys probably can't see it, but maybe if I go to this camera, you can see the 1 gallon mark is right there. There we go. So not too much more water. Ooh, perfect. Oh, that was glorious. We keep these for conditioning for later. Homegrown recycling. All right, so next, I would like to take a pH of the brew just so that I can see whether or not we need to add some acid. Even though the fermentation process is acidifying, I don't want it to be too neutral, just because, there is that slight teeny tiny chance of botulism, and it's better to just be prepared and not have that happen. So we'll just take a small sample. And I did finally calibrate my pH meter. It's a crazy thing. It required me to go and get buffer solution, so that took a little bit of time. All right, so here we go. We are at, looks like 5.4. It's a little high for my preference, but again, it's an acidifying process, and the chances are that this is going to go to 13% or so, between 12 and 13%, so eventually it does kill the chance of botulism. Put that there, that there. Speaking of alcohol by volume, let's take a specific gravity reading. Specific gravity is the density of a liquid as compared to water. In this particular case, it helps read how much sugar is in a solution compared to water. So, as we know, we have 2 pounds of honey in the water, plus a little bit of the sugars that are in coconut water. So I want to see how much sugar there is in general. Now, this is only going to be an estimate because when I add pineapple during conditioning or secondary fermentation, there is a chance that because pineapple does have sugars of its own, that it will ferment some more. So, we take it with a grain of salt when it comes to homebrewing. We stay careful and we want to know the general ABV, but it is an estimate. There we go. There's that. 17.2. All right, 17.2. Now, when I said this is going to be easy drinking, this is going to be really easy drinking compared to some of the other things that I'm making, like the piment that you see up above fermenting. That's going to be about somewhere between 15 and 17%. It's going to be a big lady. This is only going to be about 9%. But again, the additional addition of pineapple means that it could ferment some more. So not a bad thing. We want easy drinkings. Sometimes you just want to have a chill day. You know, that's one of the reasons that when it comes to beer, the pale lager, a pilsner, or a pale ale is exactly what people want to drink at the end of the day. So now I have 2 grams of Fermaid O. It is rather clumpy, but eventually it will do its thing and dissolve. Just giving that yeast a little extra nutrient so that it can do its thing happily. Now, which yeast am I using today? I am going to be using 71B. So 71B is well known to have an alcohol tolerance of about 14 to 15%. So it'll do the job just nicely doing that 15% problem. Not a problem. It's a 9% mead. We're just going to enjoy that. And it also is well known to add to tropical flavors. We're having pina coladas, it's tropical. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off and sprinkle in half of this packet. I don't need the full packet because I'm not doing 5 gallons, I'm only doing 1 gallon. And it'll make sure that the yeast colony has plenty of yeasty beasties to start. There we go. Yeah, just a little bit more. Couple extra sprinkles. That's perfect. All right, so now we've got the coconut water, we've got the yeast, we've got the nutrients. I think we are set to go with this to start fermenting. In a couple of weeks, I will take a reading and probably add some toasted coconut. Not the toasted coconut first. I'll add the pineapple first because that'll take a while to infuse and possibly restart fermentation again, which is perfectly fine. But we're gonna put a lid and an airlock on this, and then we'll see you in a few weeks. Have a good one.